Hi Mara, how you doing? This is interesting. I was thinking of you today because you're a storyboard major, and I remember that. I very distinctly remember that from your introduction back in week one. And I think it's fascinating because that's just such an interesting um, choice of careers. I think it's fascinating. I think, boy, what a dream career that would be, wouldn't it? But the reason I was thinking of you is because I'm teaching another class in illustration, and we're doing some illustrations, not quite storyboard but I would say storyboard-esque. So it's creating a narrative. What I'm doing in that class is trying to teach students, which isn't probably isn't applicable to you, but I'm sure you've studied it, is how to create a linear narrative using illustrations, but not to keep the illustrations confined to boxes like you see in a storyboard. Does that make sense? Trying to create some sort of timeline. And it is interesting because I got some really interesting results in that specific assignment. But I was thinking about you and your major of us being storyboard artists. So okay, so I just wanted to mention that. Anyway, so let's jump to your work. Thank you for including this. This makes great sense. I think in the writing, I would have liked to have seen a little more description on exactly what the intent of the piece is. For example, it says, um, an example would be a project to create a poster for an event that is relevant to your field of study. So a game designer might announce a new release of a game. An interior designer might open a new design office. So I'm just wondering what the communication intent of this piece is. That to me is very, very relevant to the success of the thumbnails themselves. So the thumbnails in terms of form and the elements of principles, I think, are good. I think you've done a wonderful job establishing a good sense of depth in each of these. I think that each is somewhat unified and also displays a good degree of harmony, as well as using variety to create some interesting compositions. In many cases, in many instances here, you've broken the picture plane, which is a really outstanding decision in terms of establishing and engaging negative space in a composition. So I think that you're really paying attention to the elements and principles. I think each of the compositions is relatively successful in establishing a focal point. However, I'm guessing that you're ahead of things a little bit and understanding that if you're creating a background for a piece that is going to use typography, then focal point actually becomes secondary because the typography is going to be the focal point. So if that's what you're thinking here, if you're thinking ahead and thinking, well, I don't want to draw a main focal point because then it will compete with the typography. Well, you're thinking the right way. So I thought that was a very advanced decision in your part. That said, a couple of these compositions are able to hold type much better than the others. This is great. This is great. This is a little random. I don't think this is as calculated as these two layouts. And this one, I think we can get rid of this one. There's nothing wrong with it. But I don't think it has the visual interest, especially of these two. Excuse me. So that said, I'm thinking now you have to think in this, what is the meaning of the project? The meaning of the project is to eventually add type, right? So we have to really think about where that type's going to go in order to make good decisions on moving forward. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And the reason I say that is because I'm going to ask you to go ahead and make your own decisions as to which one you want to move forward with. I'm going to leave that up to you. So whatever you feel has most potential, please go ahead and pursue that direction. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. Thank you very much. Good job.